So if I may summarize that point. So Mark, if this does get approved, the BlackRock spot Bitcoin ETF, what do you anticipate in terms of price reaction?
Up. What's going on, guys? K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day today. Bitcoin is, well, still kind of doing nothing, hanging out below that $30,000 level, but you can see that we are kind of starting to put in this bit of a curve right here. You can see it looks like we're looking for a bottom, or maybe even like a mini double bottom on this smaller time frame. But basically what happened this morning was, as usual, the SEC was supposed to decide on the ARK21 shares Bitcoin ETF, and it was really vague, actually. They put out this really long, vague statement, but in a nutshell, they're basically delaying it. Now, the reason that you're not really seeing a negative effect right now immediately is because markets have actually priced this in. In fact, I would have think if they got it rejected, you would have seen a massive dump. And if they had got it approved, you would have seen a massive pump, right? But because it did exactly what we thought they were going to do, there's not much happening. But one thing that I do want to talk about is what's happening right now in the markets overall. We are in a bit of a tug of war between the bulls and the bears. And I want to talk about the fact that the spot Bitcoin versus derivatives ratio is basically at one of the lowest levels we have ever seen it. It may even be at an all-time low. I have to double check, but I want to express to you what that means and what actually could be happening regarding all of these ETFs and the big decisions that could be coming in September. So I want to talk about what's happening in the background and why things are going to get very crazy very soon. Now, you may say, oh, that's a broken record. You've been saying that. Guys, believe me, they are taking their time, but this is all part of the plan. So stick around. You're going to be absolutely blown away when you hear how crazy this can get. So let's talk about what's going on in the price action over here. Of course, if you're not subscribed, get subscribed. You guys know we go over this. So we are still in what I believe to personally be a bull flag pattern. We are actually sitting on the upwards heart line of it. And what I like is if we actually zoom in here, you could see it's not like we haven't attempted to make the breakdown we have. Here, I'll even actually go to a lower time frame so you guys can see. Look at this 4 hour right here, right? Look at how many times on the 4 hour we've attempted to fall below this level, this very significant area, and yet we still maintain above it. So again, the trend is your friend until the end, and basically what's going on right now, of course, anything can change. My favorite comments are, oh, it could either go up or it could either go down. Yeah, obviously, guys, but it's all about probabilities, and the probabilities right now are to the favor of the upside. Having this many points of contact, 4 points of contact, the trend is your friend. And when you're having this boring sideways consolidation, it doesn't necessarily always mean like, oh, well, the price isn't pumping, so that means it's bearish. That's not what that means. It literally just means that the markets are in a tug of war right now where you have the bulls and the bears pretty much equal on both sides. But generally speaking, the rule of thumb is if you're in a trend and you're having consolidation, the logical next move is to the continuation of whatever we're doing. So we're going up right now. If we break this, come down, have that retest at that 25.3, which we said has been a possibility, well, then we can reassess it. But as of right now, you could see, if we look at the VPVR, the next areas of interest you can argue are around maybe 32 or 34, but really I'm looking somewhere around 37,000. Now, keep in mind, if I go back to the, right here, the CME futures, we also have a gap up here at around 35,000, and it's like a 95% chance that these gaps get closed, right? So, logically speaking, that is probably what we're doing. We're also having a look at market cipher. Sure, we're seeing a little bit of, the red on top, but ultimately what I'm looking at, and you can argue that this is an anchor wave and a trigger wave, and you can argue that maybe we have to take a bit of a dip, but what I'm really looking at is this money flow right here, this red. You could see the red right here, okay? And it's creeping up, and it looks like over the next few weeks, the money flow does want to move to the upside, and that is going to give the momentum for these markets. So again, if you guys do want to learn how to trade, check out the tutorials above. There's $56,000 in bonuses, and if you want to trade on Bybit right now, they're actually having an $8 million prize pool giveaway, a Lamborghini, a Rolex, crazy, right? Check it out if you guys are interested. Use that link below for an extra 30 grand. If you guys are interested, obviously, you will have to KYC for that. But anyway, my buddy Thomas, he was on the channel, you guys remember, a few months back, and we're talking about this consolidation and how, again, history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes, right? It does. And it's funny how you're seeing a very similar sort of ascending triangle type of a breakout pattern, right? That we had very similar back in 2016. This was like a triple bottom, right? So again, a lot of signs are looking for continuation. Now, once again, this does not mean we cannot have a quick retest. I just think that the general trend is going to continue to the upside based on what I'm looking at. Now, something that's interesting, we have Bitcoin spot to derivative trading volume ratio at all-time lows. This is according to Dylan Leclerc. So what does this mean? Well, what it means essentially is that the market is a lot of leverage trading, derivatives trading right now, chopping each other to oblivion, trying to guess each move, whereas we're not seeing spot bears selling, really. He's saying maybe they've run out of coins to sell, and the spot bulls have loaded up, and they're not ready to cash out yet. So hence why we're having this tug of war. Not bullish, not bearish, right? But the trend is your friend. So obviously they're waiting for an ETF approval or some other kind of news. And that could bring us out to September, which is very, 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 very interesting, because if I go back over to, not the guppy, you guys know the guppy, if I have a look at this, remember when we did this sort of, we drew it out and we were kind of trying to figure out where we would have this golden cross, just kind of making it up. Look at this, guys. So you can see October, November, September, somewhere in that area where, a lot of people are saying they could be looking for that ETF, right? So August, September, October, November, December, they're saying 4 to 6 months. I don't know. I just think it's funny how everything is kind of just aligning at the same time. Now, obviously, they needed to make this decision. They did make a decision. They delayed it. But as you guys can see, these are the deadlines right here. So you have Bitwise, iShares. So yeah, this is pretty much putting BlackRock, as the first potential mover, and it is all part of the plan. It is all part of the plan because, as people will tell you, first mover advantage is very, very important. And BlackRock, controlling the majority of the world, let's be honest, they want them to win. So just imagine, as we've been talking about, the amount of capital, just to do some quick math here, if they were to approve, let's say BlackRock and then kind of whatever, and then later approve all of these guys at the same time, you're talking about 15.2 trillion potential in assets under management. Now, obviously, everyone's not going to just rush in, but even just taking 1% of that, just taking 1% of that would do astronomical, it would have very big effects on the price. Let's just say that. And Mark Yusko, he was over on Kitco News. He was talking about what would happen to Bitcoin's price, the reaction potentially from an ETF. And this is what he had to say.
So if I may summarize that point. So Mark, if this does get approved, the BlackRock spot Bitcoin ETF, what do you anticipate in terms of price reaction?
Up.
Up, yes.
A lot. No, a lot. And people are like, no, that's silly. Well, no, look, there's a limited supply. And the supply isn't just limited by Satoshi himself, right? The 21 million, which isn't 21 million because it's less because there's lost and stolen, but it's not that limited supply. It's the fact that there's so many people who will never part with their Bitcoin, either because they can't, the Satoshi wallet can't move because it appears it was a multi-sig and at least one of the people has passed away, or people just don't want to sell. Dan Held, I love his last name, right? He's not going to part with his Bitcoin, no matter what the price is. So he's just not going to sell. So the free float of the network is really small. And so everybody says, well, it's $30 trillion market that is advisors that use ETFs. All right, let's say they do 1/10 of 1%, $30 billion. That's not that much. That's not going to move the price of a $500 billion asset. It's not a $500 billion asset, a free float. Free floats, maybe 100 billion, maybe. So 30 billion on 100 billion, price is going to go up. But it might not be 1/10 of 1%. What if everybody did 1%, which isn't even outlandish? given it's the best performing asset last 3 years, last 5 years, last 10 years, since inception, 14 years. So if I'm an investor or I'm a fiduciary of investors as an RIA, I might have to put some percentage in Bitcoin if everyone else is doing it. So at that point, what if it's 1%? Now we're talking 300 billion on 100 billion of free float. That's a big move. Big, like huge.
They also asked him for just a generalized price prediction. He does kind of go on for a bit, but I will play this clip because it's quite interesting, and let me know if you actually agree with Mark, if you think this is possible. And also, before we start, there's now this new theory, if you guys have been watching, that Bitcoin may actually put in a new all-time high before the halving, and then we may actually come down after that. I don't know. You let me know what you guys think. Are the cycles going to get all out of whack because of the diminishing returns lengthening? But anyway, this is what Mark Yusko had to say.
And if speculators come in and then leverage comes in, the price will go from a linear increase to a parabolic increase. And we've seen that every single time. So I can look at what the fair value is of Bitcoin using a Metcalfe's law model. And Tim Peterson has the best one, and I just use his. And it would have told me that in 2017, the fair value was $10,000. So when it hit $20,000, it was destined to go down. And it did, all the way to $3,000 because people got overly pessimistic. And then it rallied, and I could see that the fair value in 2020 was $30,000. But we went to $69,000. So it was going to go down. So I believe fair value today is 55K. Using that Metcalfe's law model. I believe that every halving 10x's the total value of the network, and that's just because the number of people and the way Metcalfe's law works, and there's an exponential growth factor. And so we started with 1,000, then we went to 10,000, then we went to 100. So I think this halving goes to 100,000 will be the fair value. So fair value will accrete from 555K today to, by the halving next April, May, call it June. So let's call it middle of summer next year. $100,000 will be fair value. But we won't go to 100,000. We will get to 100,000 and then we'll have speculation. Now, how much speculation? Depends on the approval and the timing of the approval and where we are in the adoption cycle and how much of that 300 billion is coming in. It depends on the amount of leverage that allows people to increase their buying power. And I think the leverage will be lower this time. And so let's say we blow through that 100K and we're at 150K. That seems reasonable to me. So somewhere between 100 and 150K.
By middle of 2024, after the halving in April.
That seems like a rational response to the halving and to the potential increase in demand from a futures from a spot ETF.
But the crazy part about this is you're seeing all of these entities trying to legitimize the space, trying to embrace crypto, trying to help protect investors and push it out to the masses. And then you have the SEC coming out with this, going after Bittrex for, obviously having unregistered securities. And basically Bittrex agreed to pay. I think it was like $25 million. Why did they do this? Well, it's not really that they're admitting that they're wrong. They just didn't want to drag it out in a court case, pay another $100 million. Why would they want to do that, right? When they could just, whatever, pay it, okay, walk away. But it's absolutely disgusting. And I don't understand how these rogue organizations are allowed. Like, my question is, just let's scroll down the comments because I'm going to go on a rant on this one. So let's scroll down right here. And, Zach XBT says, congrats on another meaningless enforcement protecting absolutely no one. Taxpayer dollars go a long way at the SEC. No longer a regulatory authority, simply a litigation firm. Remember the time you were utterly humiliated by your defeat in court against Ripple? Losers gonna lose again because they're losers. Thanks for letting us know that you'll eventually settle with Coinbase. What's the point of even posting this? Did you actually did something? SEC protecting investors. I mean, it's just, you can just keep scrolling. It's just what a big nothing burger of epic proportions, protecting nobody but your own meaningless existence. I mean, it's just non-stop. Fire Gary Gensler, flipping him off the bird, right? I mean, it's just ridiculous. You could just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. It's just, there are no positive comments, like not even one positive comment in here. So what I don't understand, and just, this is a rant for me, but let me know if every single person, I mean, everybody. I mean, I think like Kevin O'Leary is cool with the SEC. Okay, whatever. But every person and their mother is like, what is Gary doing right now? Why are they acting the way they're acting? You have Congress and Senate and all these people drafting bills to fire them. What I don't get is, how is this organization allowed to continue operating? Who is like keeping them in check? If everybody realizes what they're doing, I don't understand who's protecting them. The bank's conspiracy? How do they exist? And how is one man and his couple, chairs of or commissioners able to make all these decisions when literally everyone can see what they're doing, right? If we're all standing here and everybody was looking across the street and I'm watching somebody, do something nefarious or commit a crime, and we all agree that it's a crime and everybody in the room agrees that it's a crime, why is this crime still able to continue? Why is this organization still able to continue when everybody knows what they're up to? It's not even a conspiracy or a secret anymore. Rant over, but it's just enough. It's just enough. Like, all they're concerned about is just fining and brute force, and they don't care. And obviously, come on, delaying the ETF so that, what else do you guys have to look at? So that's my rant for the day. I've had enough. I've had enough of the SEC. It's actually embarrassing, is what it is. It's embarrassing for the U.S. to let these guys run rogue like that. So that's it for me. Though it's not. You know what? Let's end on some good news. So I did want to talk about something. You guys know I was down in Vegas for a while, right? So I was actually speaking with the team. I was down there with George from Cryptos R Us for this Next Gem Crypto TV show. And you've been seeing some people online, some people in the crypto community. They'll kind of be like, oh, look at that, like blah, 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 blah. But in reality, you got to admit, the only thing that ever comes out really in the media when it comes to like crypto, especially like altcoins and projects, is just, scams, rug pulls, all this different type of garbage. And crypto gets a bad rap. So I think it's cool that these guys are doing this. And they are doing basically, it's like a Shark Tank show where they have contestants that they're going to win up to $150,000. And the executive producer, Jet Tang, who I've met on multiple occasions, he's a really, really cool guy. He says that the heart of the show is to bring crypto to mainstream audiences for the first time. The teamwork, the rivalry, the larger-than-life characters, and the out-of-the-box ideas. Now, what I think is pretty cool is this isn't like something where you have to sign up for some crazy service to watch this. These guys are actually going to be on Insight TV, which is going to be available on Amazon Prime. A lot of people have Amazon Prime, Pluto TV as well. So yeah, I don't know. I think that this could be a really good opportunity to push the positive narrative of crypto out to the mainstream. They actually said the first episode, it involves people who were the least likely to understand crypto and the most unfriendly to crypto. The contestants are then broken into 4 teams that need to prove that they can explain the basics of blockchain to the no-coiners to win the challenge. While the educational component is important, the show's focus is on capturing crypto culture and the eclectic characters found in the industry. And they also had a lot of other guests on. They had one of the original guys from Shark Tank. What was he? He was the, I forget his name, but he was the creator of like the infomercial, basically, like he invented it. And then they also have other people like Tom Dwan on High Stakes Poker, who won the largest televised cash pot in history. And I guess the reason that I'm bringing this up is because we know that every day we're just getting flooded with all these different altcoins, all these different projects, all these different things. But, when I went down and I had some discussions with these guys, which, by the way, I was, maybe, who knows? I may make an appearance on a show. I'm not gonna say anything. Maybe, maybe season 2 may have a spot for me if you're watching, guys. But I did talk to them, and Hourglass Collective, or Hourglass, the token is weight, but obviously we're not here to shield tokens. But ultimately, yeah, these are projects that are actually incubating something and really doing something for real. Putting a television show out to the masses, getting it in front of the eyes of the people. And I just think like the legitimacy is going to come. The ETFs, you have guys like Hourglass, putting on this crypto gem show, and SEC Gary, his time is limited. So I think that there's a lot going on right now, and it's really just only a matter of time ultimately, until it's just a part of every day. Like Web3 is just a part of everything that we do. So obviously I didn't want to end on doom and gloom with Gary because that rant was crazy. But yeah, I mean, having a look right here again, I just want to summarize super quick. We are unfortunately flipping into the neutral on the daily. So that could, put us in opportunities for buying. But every single time that we have this dip in the uptrend, it gets instantly bought back up. So I wouldn't celebrate too quickly if the bears get a little bit of a dip, even if we get that retest at 25.3. Like I said, I would not celebrate prematurely. And of course, we are looking for a potential golden cross at the end of this year. So will the stars align for Bitcoin and the ETF and crypto? I don't know. Guys. But we shall see, and I will be here every day making videos. Again, if you guys do want to get an Engrave wallet, I have 10% off. And like I said, if you guys want to follow me on Twitter, we are going to be doing a giveaway. So you're going to want to be over there if you want to be a part of that. So that is it for me. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. Hope you guys are having an awesome day. Make sure to check out the tutorials. If you guys want to learn how to trade, they're free. And until next time, enjoy your weekend. My name's K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Stay crypto. And of course, peace out.